A new EU copyright law aimed at ensuring that people who create get their fair share. Getting tougher on product quality, the European Parliament turns up the heat on brands that mislead consumers. Paving the way toward EU spring elections and beyond, the European Commission President looks ahead in his State of the Union speech. And debating the future of Europe after Greece exited EU life support. Is the EU better prepared for future shocks? Hello and welcome to our roundup of the European Parliament's latest plenary session here in Strasbourg. We begin with a copyright law for the 21st century, aiming to ensure that creators get their fair share of the revenue, including from what goes online. When it comes to copyrights, the World Wide Web may seem like the World Wild Web. Parliament approved legislation that adapts to 21st century media, protecting designers, artists, musicians, authors, and journalists alike. Article 13 of the legislation requires online platforms to reach licensing agreements with the rights holders, but it also exempts small companies and academics so not to stifle innovation and research. Axel Voss of the EPP Group authored the legislation.
Europe is a content continent, and that's why we have to improve the situation, get this better balanced. Only real platforms who are basing their business model on copyright protected works are now covered by Article 13. The creators get their money, they can live on this and creating more. This is the idea.
We turn to you, the consumer, and the products you depend on, or can you? Some companies sell different quality products in different countries under the same brand. Now there's EU legislation to fight that. Parliament approved the so-called dual quality guidelines. They target companies that sell food brands across Europe with the same packaging, but with different ingredients in different regions at different prices. There's also dual quality in non-food items like some detergents, cosmetics, toiletries, and baby products. The EPP Group's Ivan Štefanič of Slovakia is shadow rapporteur.
Consumer cannot be treated like second-class citizen, and I do believe this is a very political issue also, because particularly citizens from so-called young or new European countries, sometimes they feel that they are treated differently and lower quality of the same product is served or proposed to the respective markets. So the idea is that there must be the same rules everywhere.
The legislation calls for a stronger commercial unfair practices directive that empowers European consumers.
Consumer must be sure that if there is something wrong, there is institution where he or she can apply with respective complaint.
Next, the State of the Union. European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker looked at the final year ahead for himself and his team, a crucial year ahead for the EU with elections and Brexit. Tackling a migration crisis while trying to pull out of a financial crisis, Juncker's Commission has had a rough ride over the past 4 years. As elections and Brexit approach next spring, Juncker says the year ahead will involve battling populist rhetoric with real solutions.
D'ici les élections européennes, nous devons démontrer que l'Europe peut surmonter les différences entre le Nord et le Sud, l'Est et l'Ouest. L'Union européenne, l'Europe, est trop petite pour se diviser. Il faudra renforcer notre capacité à parler d'une seule voix en matière de politique étrangère. Nous allons faire des propositions pour pouvoir procéder dans certains domaines, pas dans tous les domaines, en matière de politique étrangère par majorité qualifiée. Pour certaines matières relevant de la fiscalité, nous devrions pouvoir décider également par majorité qualifiée. En un mot, restons fidèles à ce que nous sommes. Plantons aujourd'hui les arbres, à l'ombre desquels nos arrière-petits-enfants, d'où qu'ils viennent, du nord, du sud, de l'ouest ou de l'est, puissent grandir et respirer en paix.
EPP Group Chairman Manfred Weber, running for Mr. Juncker's job in the May 2019 European elections, lent his support.
And today's Europe cannot be united, cannot be called united, having in mind that still the living conditions in the European Union are not equal. That's why I think we have to do more on common living conditions and living standards in the European Union. And finally, Europe of people is a Europe which is strong on global level. That's why to change from the unanimous vote mechanism to the majority vote system is fully supported by the EPP. Let's stand up. Let's make the century a European one again. Crisis times are over. Now it's time for a more united Europe, for a more democratic Europe, and for a more ambitious Europe. Thank you so much.
Finally, can the EU weather future shocks after overcoming recent crises? A debate on the future of Europe between MEPs and Greece's Prime Minister. With Greece having met tough requirements to exit a massive EU bailout program, leftist Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras spoke of the path ahead.
Η έξοδος της Ελλάδας από το τελευταίο πρόγραμμα δημοσιονομικής προσαρμογής δεν σημαίνει ότι η χώρα επανέρχεται στο παρελθόν της. Αντίθετα, είμαστε αποφασισμένοι να μην επαναλάβουμε τα λάθη και τις συμπεριφορές που οδήγησαν στην κρίση. Το τέλος των μνημονίων δεν συνιστά επαναφορά στο παρελθόν, αλλά ιστορική τομή με το παρελθόν. Είναι μια νέα αρχή που εμπεδώνει τη σταθερότητα και την ασφάλεια.
Tsipras' opponents, including the EPP group, criticized his policies as falling short of providing long-term solutions for Greece. Esteban González Pons, an EPP group vice chairman, warned the Prime Minister against a return to populist policies and rhetoric ahead of next year's European elections.
Ahora usted tiene dos opciones: continuar por el camino de las reformas que acaba de emprender o volver al populismo y al radicalismo. Recuerde una cosa, la extrema derecha es tan peligrosa como la extrema izquierda, al menos para los demócratas. Espero que usted lo recuerde, porque nosotros no nos vamos a olvidar.
That's it for now from Strasbourg. Find out more about the activities of the largest political force in Parliament by checking eppgroup.eu. Until next time, thanks for watching.